All right, example 5. We are going to complete the square again. So it tells us to solve this by completing the square. The big difference this time, I'll highlight it in yellow here, is there's a coefficient on the x squared. And our completing the square stuff didn't work when we had a coefficient other than 1 on that term. So what we're going to do is get rid of it. If it doesn't work for us, that's fine. Get rid of it. Divide, I forgot my equals 0 part here. I'm going to divide every term by 2, even the 0. And if you notice, it comes down here, x squared minus 7 halves x plus 5 halves equals 0. Now, I'm going to do one thing here because I've got this fraction. I don't want to do any extra adding of fractions before I need to. I'm actually going to move that negative 5 halves over to the other side of the equation. And now I have x squared minus 7 halves x plus, and I'm going to leave myself a space there, equals negative 5 halves. All right. Now, just like I did before, I'm going to look at the b term, negative 7 halves, divide it in half, and then square it. Now, an important little note here, whenever you have a number like, let's say, 8 over 5, and you divide it in half, it's the same as multiplying the denominators, 5 times 2. So that's what I'm going to do here. The two 2's are going to get multiplied, and I got negative 7 over 4 squared, which is equal to 49/16. So now I know what I want for my c value, so I'm going to write it in, plus 49/16. So if I do it to one side, though, I have to add it to the other, plus 49/16. And you could do that same process where you leave a blank spot for the other problems. I can show you one of those if you want. But let's go ahead and reduce this down here. We get x minus 7/4. Remember, the bit that I was squaring becomes the bit that's on the inside. Squared equals negative 5 halves plus 49/16. Now, I'm going to do that in a little side project here. Negative 5 halves plus 49/16. Well, if I multiply the 2 by 8, I'll get 16, so that's my common factor there. Negative 40 over 16 plus 49 over 16. Ooh, look at that. That comes out to be a nice round 9/16. So let me add some space here. These ones do take some space sometimes. And this guy down here comes around over x minus 7/4 squared equals 9/16. Now I take my positive and negative square root of both sides, and I get myself x minus 7/4 equals plus or minus 3/4. Because remember, when you take the square root of a fraction, square root of 9 over square root of 16, it just splits to the numerator and denominator, and you take each one of them independently, 3 and 4. All right, almost there, plus 7/4 to both sides. So I get x equals 7/4 plus or minus 3/4, and we are so lucky that they're already common denominators, so we can just solve them out here. 7 plus 3 is 10/4, or 2.5, and 7 minus 3 is 4/4, or 1. So x equals 2.5 and x equals 1. Oops. My 2 looks kind of ugly there. 2.5. There we go. A little bit better. All right. The tricky part here is how to square a fraction and make sure that you've got the correct fraction that you're squaring. Otherwise, the process is exactly the same as what we did before.